Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about the psychology topic, social identification theory, which is SIT. So before we get into the study of Tajfel, we're going to look at the social identification theory. So we broke it down into three main parts, which are social categorization, social identification, and social comparison. So let's look into the first one. Social categorization is when you have a bunch of people. So let's say we have these three groups. They're all people, but they have different characteristics and they belong to different groups. Let's say this is our third group. Okay, so what social categorization is, is basically when you put these people into groups. So you say this is group A, this is group B, and this is group C. Next, when we have those groups, we move on to social identification. And social identification is if this is me and I'm thinking, which group do I belong with? Do I belong with group A? Do I belong with group B? Or do I belong with group C? And all of these display different characteristics, so you have to see which one you identify with in order to categorize yourself and identify with a category. So building on that even further, so once you categorize yourself and you identify with a category, say I identify with that one, you will start to compare yourself. So this is us. We're gonna put us in a little highlighter bubble. That's me. Okay, so once you're in this group, you're gonna start comparing yourself to people from this group. You're gonna start comparing to yourself from people from this group, and that is gonna form social comparison. And within this kind of sub-theory, we're going to have in-group favoritism, which is self-explanatory. Basically, you favorite the people that are in your group versus people that are not in your group. And we have out-group homogeneity bias, which is basically that the people in your group are all known. But all these other people belong to one blob, which is basically the others. And we're the us. So us and others. That is the outgroup homogeneity bias. Wow, these words are complicated. Okay. Once we have that established, we can go to classify what SIT is. SIT is basically a theory where people have multiple social personalities. You have social selves. So when you're around certain people, you behave a different way. So let's say with your parents, you behave a different way. At school, you behave a different way. And these are school, you behave a different way. And this is because of your different social identities. Identities, personalities. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Okay, so now when we move on to the study, Tajfel, which was made in 1970, they had a psych class. That's a little wonky class. Okay, so they had a psych class, and they got these boys, to come in groups of 8. So you had 8 boys at a time. And let me note that this is split into 2 experiments. Experiment 1 and experiment 2. And it's important to note that there is 2 experiments. Okay, so back to experiment 1. So we had these boys, and they would come in groups of 8. And they were asked to watch a screen, and on the screen, they were moving clusters. So we had one cluster, and they were asked to estimate and these clusters were moving. They were moving on the screen. To estimate the number of dots in each cluster. So once they did that, they were divided into 2 groups. The overestimator and the underestimator. Okay, so once they did that, these boys were asked to give money to the rest of the boys. And all they had knowledge of was who was in their in group and who was in their out group. And that's it for experiment number 1. Moving into experiment number 2, we have groups of boys as well that come into this room, and they're asked to choose between 2 artists. So they choose between artist 1 and artist 2. It's not girl and boy, that made more sense to differentiate them. Okay, artist 1 and artist 2. They have no idea what the difference is between these artists. They're just asked to choose one. Once they do this, they are also split into 2 groups again. And they are told to, I've seen this on source. It's kind of in the text, but it's not very clear. But they're told to, when they give, okay, so this is group A, this is group B of boys who liked artist 1 and artist 2. So group A is told that if they give group B more money, group A wins. So the less money they give to their group, the more they win. So it's kind of backwards. It's backwards logic. Now, I don't know if you have to mention this, but it's good to know. Okay, so that is experiment number 2. Very short. And yeah. Okay, now looking into results, we had a result that showed that the boys who gave the money given to in-groups in experiment 1 was more than out groups. Well, we don't have to write that, but it was more. So basically, if we go back to here, they gave more money to their in-groups than the other group because, well, in-group favoritism. Our second result was that in experiment number 2, the boys maximized the difference. Because remember, I spelled that wrong. Difference. Because remember, if they give group B more, group A will win more. If group B gives group A more, group B will win more. So from that logic, they still paid the other group more so they could win. So that's just in-group bias. And yeah. If you have any questions, let me know.